Hello, world. Um, I decided to do a little talk show today. I've been sitting here talking to all of y'all for a little while now, and I think it's time, you know, uh, give you a little more information about myself. Um, I'm 38 years old now. I was born in Iowa City, Iowa. My biological father joined the army, and we went to Germany. I was in Germany from the time I was 1 to the time I was 4, and then he got stationed at Fort Polk, Louisiana, and I was there until I was 10. During that time, him and my mother got a divorce. He said it was because I was a girl that he was leaving my mom, but I don't know. There's probably other problems there. Um, that's what he told me. Um, a couple of years later, my mom met somebody and got remarried, and he was also in the army. My dad. Uh, and we went back to Germany again. Lived there for another 4 years, from the time I was 10 till I was about 14. Matter of fact, the day we got to Germany, it was my 10th birthday. That was kind of cool. Um, Lived there for a while in Kitzingen, and had a lot of fun there. Had a lot of friends. Some I really don't see anymore. Some of them, let's see, there was Katja Ingstrom, there was Kale and Larry. Let's see, who else was it? Isabel. Had a couple of friends there. Um, it's kind of hard to keep contact when you're always moving. From there, my dad, he got out of the army, and we went back to Alabama, where he was from, and that's where I graduated high school at Mary G. Montgomery High School. Um, from there, I went to a security school down in Florida, which turned out to be a fraud. As a matter of fact, I think they've done one out of business now, because when I went to get a job in security, their credentials were not good enough, and I'd had to go to school again. So I ended up joining the Army myself. Went to Fort Jackson, South Carolina for my boot camp. Went to Fort Gordon, Georgia for my AIT. Let's see. After I went to there, I got stationed in Germany again. Was there for about 2 years. I was in Kaiserslautern. Um, Enjoyed it. I always like being in Germany. You know, you wake up in the mornings and you go downtown, and they've got all kinds of bakeries everywhere, and you can smell all them good baked goods cooking and stuff like that. It was just wonderful. You know, had nice snows over there. Um, then I came back to the States. My whole unit got transferred to Fort Polk, Louisiana again. I was there, revisited some of the places I had been when I was a kid. Then I got married. Big mistake. Wish I wouldn't have done that. I got out of the army because I hurt my knee back in when I was in my schooling still, and it just got to the point where I couldn't be running all the time. So I got out. My husband at the time stayed in. Uh, then he got out of the military, and at this time, my dad and mom had moved up here to Virginia, and my dad was working in a lumber yard. He got my husband a job, so we came up here after he got out of the army, and he worked for about 2 weeks and quit because he said it was too hard on him. And then he decided he didn't have to work no more. And what few times he would get a job, there was always an excuse why he couldn't work. They were smoking drugs on the job. They were drinking on the job. They were calling him names, and every time he turned around, he was quitting a job. So basically, I put up with it for about 4 years and got tired of it and said, that's it. Gone. I left him. I always loved wrestling when I was a kid, and we were up here in Virginia, and I found a independent group called the NAWA in Virginia. I worked for them for a while, enjoyed it, um, but our promoter had to give it up because it was getting too hard on him, and he went into being an inspector for the Boxing and Wrestling Commission here in Virginia. And the guy he had take it over, basically, because I wouldn't do special favors for him, he let me go, which was fine. I went to find another promotion because I still love to do the wrestling. And it just seemed like everybody I talked to, he had already talked to and told him I didn't do what I was told, so I wasn't a good worker. So that ended that, but at least I can say I did it. I now live in Lynchburg, Virginia, with my boyfriend at my house. Um, I work at a convenience store, and he works changing tractor trailer tires. Uh, so he's got a pretty hard job. The economy, I think it really sucks. It's getting harder and harder to get by, but we're making it. And really, that's a sum of me. I've had a lot of animals through my life. I've always loved animals. My first pet that I remember was a guinea pig named Squeaky the first time we lived in Germany. My first dog, her name was Queenie. She was a Great Dane. Uh, since then, I've had 5 Great Danes. Loved every one of them. Some of my other dogs I've had, Harry, and then there was Bandit Bunny Rex and Princess. Harry and Princess were Bandit Bunny and Rex's mother and father. They were half chow, half shepherd. Good dogs to have, very good dogs. Let's see, the last dog I had recently, his name was Bubby. He was 14 years old, and he broke a hip, so unfortunately, you know what we had to do there. But I got him. I was working at an animal shelter. Well, it was a boarding place. And the people brought him there and never came back to get him. So I took him in and gave him a good life. Right now I have 2 cats, Lucky and Zoe. Lucky's a solid black cat, and Zoe's just a mixed cat. They're good animals. They spend more time outside now that it's getting warm than they do in, which is fine with me. They're trained. They go out. They're trained to use a litter box, or most times they go to the door and scratch to go outside to use the bathroom, which that's fine with me too. That's less litter box cleaning. My cat, little bird that I had recently, he was a Siamese mix. I have pictures of him on my other videos. He was hit by a car, which pretty much tore me in two. And that's pretty much my life. Why don't you tell me some stuff about yourselves? Either type it or do a video about it. Tell me where you're from. Tell me how old you are. Tell me about your life, where the places you've been, things you've seen, things you've done, people you've met. I've met a few movie stars in my life, and of course when I did the wrestling, I met a couple of wrestlers that I had really looked up to. Some of them it was an exciting thing, and some of them it turned out to be a disappointment. Like one I met, I won't even mention his name. He was just rude to everybody, and when I was a kid I just thought he was the greatest thing since split peas. Some of the other ones I've met were great. Tony Atlas, I met him. He was a good guy. Demolition Axe, he was a good guy. I've also met Ric Flair, not through the wrestling itself, but he was always really nice. I've met his son David. He's a really nice guy. Let's see, I got to meet John Travolta one time. That was exciting. Met him when I was in Paris. We went to Euro Disney and everything just before we left Germany to come back to Fort Polk, and I met John Travolta. He was real nice. I've met Henry Winkler. They did a USO tour, the Happy Days people did, when I was a kid, and I got to meet Henry Winkler then. He was a really nice guy. See, if y'all have met anybody like that, let me know. What are your interests in life? What do you do in the real world? What kind of job you have or whatever? Tell me about your pets. I love hearing about people's pets and stuff.